y'all, I'm Ellen. We've been super inspired by our journeys of self-healing and discovery.
And I'm Sam, and we want to share our experiences with you to help you get curious about yourself, reconnect, and get intentional about your life so you know what makes you happy.
Welcome to Woo New, the podcast. I can't even really begin to express my excitement and just the feeling I have in my body right now, sitting here with Sam and Angela, Linghu and Kevin Lian of Apotherie. I have been following you guys for a while now, and I have been loving all of your posts on Instagram, and more so than just even the messages that are coming through the posts, and we're going to get into all these amazing things that you guys are doing with Apotherie, but it's the energy I think that you guys send out through the writing that's on your website, the posts that you make on Instagram. Like, I really, really feel the love and the connection that you have for the earth and wanting to spread earth medicine and just the power and potency of the medicine that we receive from all these amazing plants and plant allies. You guys create these beautiful small batch herbal goods that the way you describe it is that they're rooted in Eastern and Western philosophy, and they're handcrafted in the San Gabriel Mountains. And first of all, I just want to thank you before we even begin for what you guys are putting out into the world, because I think it's so necessary, especially now as we are where we are in this trajectory of humanity's kind of, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like kind of just where we are, I think, in our evolution. And I think we are hitting some big signs from nature, big signs from the earth, that there is a call and a need for us to really step into a new system of values. And so I am just so in awe of, and also so deeply appreciative of the work that you guys do. So welcome. Thank you so much for sharing your energy and your voice and your experiences with us today.
Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate that. We're totally new to small business and marketing on Instagram, which is a whole beast on its own. And I think whenever we post or write something, it gets convoluted with all the people tell you what you should post on social media to get followers and da-da-da-da. Mm-hmm. And I think for us, it's like, well, we don't know about that, but we're just going to post what we love to do. And it's like what you said, we just want to share our love for nature and this earth, and hopefully the vibe speaks for itself.
It absolutely does.
And I actually at the beginning of my healing journey even took this herbal medicine workshop, which was, such a small slice of the power of plant medicine and what it can do for your body, but it totally changed my entire relationship with my body, with my health, with my energy, with nature. And so I'm super excited to be talking to you guys, especially because I know that you treat all of your herbs with holographic sound, which is something that I do with all of our products. So yeah, thank you so much for speaking with us. So happy to be here.
Amazing.
Yeah, thank you guys. Ellen, that was a really nice way of saying, how right now we are, I think, in a pretty crucial time, so much crisis with the land and with people, and how you said that earlier. I really felt everything that you just said very deeply. I think it is a very crucial time to be able to connect back with the land is really important, I think.
Yeah, I definitely think reconnecting to the earth is the foundation of reconnecting to each other. I think a little bit of that Eastern and Western philosophy that we try to embody is part of that value of bringing people back together again, especially as we become more divisive and um, maybe extreme in terms of like, keeping everyone separate in the name of diversity. I think we have to kind of bring everyone back together again and celebrate how we're more similar than we are different.
Mm-hmm.
I love the way you said that. Angela, you come from, I mean, you are a licensed therapist and you specialize in neuromuscular rehabilitation. And
Mm-hmm.
Kevin, you're a self described herbal alchemist and horticulturist. And I love that you had this background in nonprofits and nonprofit work as
Yeah.
well. And I would love to maybe even start in the beginning with both of you on your sort of separate journeys and how you arrived at creating Apotherie together.
Sure.
I guess for me, after college, so I guess the beginning would be I studied neuropsychology in college for my undergrad. And as most college students are, when they graduate, they have no idea what the hell they want to do.
Yeah, pretty much checks out. Yep.
Yep. And I had the option of being a healthcare practitioner or a healthcare practitioner, being from the Asian American background that I'm from. And I actually wanted to study traditional Chinese herbalism first, but my parents were worried that it wasn't mainstream enough. So I was guided more towards something that was a little more in hospital, more quote clinical. And I chose occupational therapy because it had the least amount of prerequisites. So that's how I got into OT. And that was actually a pretty good decision because OT, I believe, in healthcare is probably the most wellness oriented and flexible in terms of practice. There's people who do pediatrics and there's people who do yoga for OT with kids, and I think that kind of led me to my next step. We ended up in Mammoth Lakes because it was the first place that hired me. And that opened us up to this entire world of being nomadic, because a lot of people in Mammoth Lakes, being a ski town, are very come and go. And that's how we ended up doing the van life thing, which was our first full immersion in nature.
Wow.
For about 9 months. We were living
I love that
in
you
a
guys did
van.
that.
Yeah, it was really fun. We lived in a van with our dogs and then blew through our savings and ended up back in LA because I needed to get a job, or we both needed to get jobs. And I went back to OT in an orthopedic and wellness capacity. And that's a lot of neuromuscular work because stress and pain go hand in hand. And I was working with clients that were actually employees of a hospital system, so doctors, nurses, other healthcare professionals. So a lot of work-related injuries that come from being a healthcare professional, as well as the usual being stuck at a desk all day kind of ergonomic issues. And around the same time, I think moving back to Los Angeles is kind of what propelled my spiritual healing journey, because something about coming back to this place triggered a lot of nightmares for me, or daymares, I guess, both. And I went to find a sound healer, what I thought was a sound bath, because I didn't really know anything about that world. So I thought I was just going to sit down and relax, but I actually got a Akashic sound reading.
Oh, wow.
And it was really intense. And that was a partial third eye opening, I think. And that led me to getting my own certifications, getting trained so I can provide energy healing work to clients in my clinic, as well as the usual traditional work that I do.
Can you describe what Akashic sound reading is? I don't think I've ever heard that.
Yeah, so this girl, Janelle, she studied Akashic record reading, and she also realized her gift of sound healing through her voice and using the mediums like crystal bowls, and she combined it into her own modality.
Wow.
So she uses her voice and the sound to navigate the Akashic records. And I think there's something about the way her energy is, it almost wraps you in that dimension too. Um, yeah.
Oh my gosh,
So,
I'm gonna have to get her number from you after this. That
yeah,
sounds incredible.
definitely.
Wow. So you studied energy healing. Is there a specific type of energy healing that you were studying?
Yeah, so I started with Reiki. I think that's like the basics of studying energy healing that everyone starts with. And then that became an introduction into everything else. And I think as you study energy healing and practice, it evolves with your own energy. And I was finding that the way that I moved energy was changing too. So I started seeking out these other modalities, which is how I started with holographic sound. And then I also took an Akashic sound course with Janelle. And I think through all of that, I became more aware of um, my natural tendency to be able to vibrate with earth type of energies. So working with herbs, being in nature, I think I'm able to connect a little more clearly than say someone who's a medium for spirits, like human spirits.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
yeah, that's where my journey to Apotherie.
How about you, Kevin?
Yeah, so my journey is a little different from Angela's. Um, so like now I practice herbalism and I practice with different like modalities and energy healing and just like nature-based therapies. But and it's only been like a year and a half since I've been doing this, or maybe even a little less than that. But I started back, as a graduate, as an undergrad, I studied sociology and political science. I was very interested in humanities and in people and in groups, and I love studying like all aspects of society. And then I graduated. I didn't know what I was going to do for a living. And then I got into politics and political campaigns, just kind of organically. And I worked that for a little bit for like a couple of years. And while it was a lot of fun, it was not the path for me. I just saw early on how like stressful and how many hours and just kind of the crazy climate that it was. And so then I thought, okay, I'm pretty good with people. They're interested in societal things, and so I got a job at a nonprofit working as a fundraiser for after-school programs for boys and girls. And then that kind of like launched my next like 6 7 years working in nonprofit as a fundraiser, fund development, trying to figure out how to raise money with all these different donors. And all the while, like I really love the work, but I really want to climb the ladder, like that corporate ladder. And I remember back then, like I just wanted to become the executive director. I wanted to become the CEO, and like I wanted all that glitz and glamour, all like the fame, the money, all the pomp and circumstance that I grew up with and was influenced by. And so it was 2020. Fast forward to 2020 January, and I was at a top level position, running a big region for this national nonprofit. And it got to the point where I was like self-medicating through drugs and alcohol, and I convinced myself that I was okay, that I just had to do whatever I had to do. to get the job done, and that it was normal as well.
Isn't that
And
so
I thought,
crazy?
Yeah.
yeah, and I think how I normalized it was because all of my peers and people that I met with for work, like donors or other executives, were like kind of the same way. Like a lot of them were divorced, and a lot of them were just not very like they didn't have a personal life. They just were very good at their jobs, and I thought I could do both, but it turns
Yeah.
out I can't. I couldn't do that, and so it was actually December 2019, and Angela at that time had already started to learn about energy healing and was like on her own healing journey. And she had invited me to explore this, and I was open to it, but I didn't have enough time,
Mm.
I believe, to do that. But she did say that I should go get like a Reiki session, and so I did, and that was December 2019, and I think that just like that unlocked something for me. That
Mm.
just removed this block where I started to see what was actually happening
Wow.
to like in my life, and then a month later, I was fired from my job. Um,
Wow.
Oh, wow. The
yeah.
universe, man.
I know, right?
Yeah. And and then that really shook me up, being fired. It took me a few months to get back on my feet mentally. And then I decided like, okay, I don't want to do what I was doing for a living anymore because it's just not for me. Um, and I knew that I wanted to do something more organic and nature based, and something that would still help people, but something that was more fulfilling for myself. And organically, um, that started with like plants because we have a beautiful like backyard and different gardens in our house. And so I started to work with the land more and plant stuff and cultivate and really just spend more time in our gardens. And I started to take a few courses around horticulture and plants at a local college here. And at the same time, Angela and I, you know, then the pandemic hit, and then we were talking about how we can do something for ourselves, like work together, because we've always talked about starting a business and working together. And then herbalism was in the picture, and Angela, I think for you, it was in your Akashic records
Oh, yeah.
that you saw this message.
Yeah, my first Akashic sound reading. Me and Janelle, we were in this shared space together somehow, like a shared consciousness, and we saw this like past life where me or my sister from a past life was we were working with herbs and we were like in this hut and just like working with plant life, and I was being taught this like way of the land.
Wow.
And that was like it was really visceral for me. And I remember when I came out of that Akashic sound, I was sobbing because I just felt it so deeply.
Mm.
And that Akashic sound vision completed another part of these nightmares that were recurring. So it was like the same scene, but now I could see the different parts that were happening.
Wow.
It was so interesting. It was the first time I realized there was a subtle reality that existed beyond our visual reality.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Were you guys at the time like? Thank you first of all for sharing your journeys because there's so much of it that resonates with me, and I know it resonates with Sam too, knowing where we
Yeah.
came from.
Like PTSD from the corporate world.
Totally. But I'm so curious, like, I mean, these kinds of awakenings are always really fascinating to me because I'm going through it myself, and just opening up to what it is that I feel is kind of my true calling in this life. Um, that has a lot to do with like my voice, which I always had kind of a problem with, and public speaking, which I always had a problem with, and like, and being out in front of people, and really sort of guiding and teaching, and all of which was always terrifying for me. But I'm realizing like, oh, these are the things that I think I'm actually needing to break through these walls in order to step into, and and do. But I'm curious, like, before the Akashic sound session, and Kevin, before you started really like learning, actively learning, were you guys into herbs at the time, or were you working with them at all, or was it something that just sort of came after, as you were sort of opening yourself up in this journey of like healing?
For me, I grew up with herbs. Growing up in the San Gabriel Valley, it was just part of being Taiwanese American or Chinese American as well, where if I got sick, my mom would immediately go get herbs and brew something for me. And it's partially connected to how sensitive my stomach was as a kid. So taking Western medications like aspirin and things like that would make me throw up. So the doctor just said to find an alternative way. And so I had a Chinese medicine doctor growing up, and it was pretty normal for me to just have herbs around. Nature wise, I think that's kind of the connection between me and Kevin, is that ever since we were dating, we were always camping, backpacking, going out to nature, just exploring. So in that way, we've always had that connection and relationship with the earth.
Yeah, and for me, as a kid, my mom gave me some Chinese herbs to drink, but I remember they tasted so bad and like they were
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
bitter, and so I don't think that lasted very long at all. But as a kid and as a young adolescent, I did take a lot of medication, but it was Western medication because I was diagnosed with Tourette syndrome in the third grade. And so I was on so many different kinds of pills and patches to manage my tics. And
Oh
I
my
remember
gosh.
those pills, like they were effective in that they actually stopped like my nervous system from having these different tics, but it dulled my mind and it really like dulled my senses.
I was going to say, I
And
can't even imagine what those side effects must have been like.
oh yeah, yeah. They range from something minor, from like dry mouth to like paranoia.
Ugh.
Where
Wow.
I remember I was a freshman at UC Irvine, and we were playing basketball, and all of a sudden, the world like visually, everything started to cave in and got really
What?
dark, and I felt like I was dying.
That's
Oh my
so
It
gosh.
scary.
was really
Yeah.
scary. Yeah, and I knew it was a medication, and that was so powerful that I said I can't take any more of this stuff.
Oh
And that was
man.
like the last time that I regularly took any kind of Western meds for that.
Were your doctors like, what are you doing?
Not so much. I wasn't in contact with my doctor as much like during that time.
That's
I
probably a
just knew
blessing.
I was like, no, I like this isn't for me. Like this isn't gonna work. I've got to find a different way to
Wow.
manage it. And so I did. Like what I did was like I really like transformed my life. Like towards the end of college, I had to like choose um, um, friend groups and choose interests that really benefited me, and not just like what I thought I should do. But then in 2020, when everything kind of like when my world kind of collapsed, um, then I started to take herbs, like different herbal remedies for my tics and to manage my stress. And that was kind of the first time in my life where I started to actively seek out herbalism and see all the different things, like all the good stuff that comes with it.
Wow.
Wow. That's a really profound lesson that you learned so early in college. I feel like when I was in college, it was like making a good decision was just not even in my energy.
Same.
Like, I had
Same.
no ability to see past like the next party or like the next fun thing we were gonna do.
Yeah.
I know. Same.
Wow. I love also, just to reflect back to you, the fact that you guys are a couple. And, I think as you guys are sharing your stories, like, I'm actually thinking a lot about my relationship with my husband too. He's a musician, and, we I think, initially connected with our love of music. And there was a short period of time when I was a music major in college, but I ended up switching into journalism and becoming more like centered into my writing. But it was always music that kind of connected us first and foremost. And as you guys are talking about nature being sort of that connection point, not that I'm necessarily going to start a business with my husband, but I'm like now wondering if there is almost kind of this like, there's this like future sort of collaboration possibility with the two of us, because he's starting to make music that I can use in my breath work.
Oh, I love that.
And it's really fascinating. It only just started happening just this last year too. And so he's about to launch an album probably at the maybe end of year or early next year, but everything's very, it's like very, very conducive for breath work. Journeying. And so I'm like, there's
Cool.
something
Yeah.
really fascinating with this,
Wow.
coalition, or coalescing of gifts, in a really interesting way.
Yeah, I think working with Kevin in this past year and a half has really been shadow work for me in a way that when you work with your life partner as a business partner, you really have to learn to check your ego at the
Oh
door
yeah. I bet.
Yeah.
and just focus on like the craft or the art, like what we're trying to put out there. So we're constantly being reminded that we just need to focus on the mission at hand versus like, I want it this way and you want to do it this way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's been really beautiful for me, and I'm still working on it all the time. I'm an Aries sun, so I have a lot of ego, and
I'm a
I'm a
Leo, so.
Pisces.
Oh, you
I'm a
are? Oh,
Pisces
wow.
sun, so I'm very sensitive.
yeah, a lot of
Wait,
feelings.
I'm sorry. What are you?
A Pisces sun?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I definitely think that collaborating, like with a close friend or like a partner, like you're really creating this art that's like with a foundation of like love and collaboration. And I think it's more powerful than doing it on your own sometimes, which for
Yeah.
me, I've always been kind of a lone person. Like I just want to do everything by myself.
Oh my God,
So
same.
so I really learned how to ask for help. And I think, yeah, it's part of the healing that we put out too. I think it's not just the products, it's like the vibe that you give out as well.
Oh my gosh, I totally believe that. And I actually have a couple questions, just jumping back really quick. Like as you guys are talking about energy therapy and energy healing, for anyone who doesn't actually or isn't familiar with some of those forms like holographic sound and these ancient rituals, can you tell us a little bit more about them?
Yeah, so holographic sound, from the way I learned, is um, the way I learned it is you're basically using sound and any way that you can produce sound to create a layer on our reality. And within that safe space, you're able to move energy and heal. So I learned from also Janelle and also her teacher, Dr. Paul. So we use crystal bowls, but mainly we're using our voice to heal, and it's using that vibration to change the physical manifestations of our reality.
Oh wow.
That's so rad.
It's like vocal toning.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh wow. We literally just talked to my sound healing teacher a
Yeah.
few interviews ago, and she talked a lot about vocal toning, which during that class, that was the first time I got a chance to experience it. And again, as somebody who has always had kind of a complicated relationship with her voice and using her voice and speaking out, I found it really challenging at first to
Mm.
be okay doing that, you know, using my
Mm-hmm.
voice in that way. And she had us sort of sing, or yeah, basically sing just notes. It's not even full mantras or anything like that. It was just like, you know, ohms and
Sounds.
ahs and, you know, yeah, different tones. But I I remember coming in from one day during the sound healing class, and I had just gotten in a fight with Adam. My energy was like kind of all over the place. I was still frustrated and kind of pissed off. And then, you know, to start the day, we had to vocal tone together. And man, that vocal toning, it's like my energy completely shifted after
Mm,
that 10 minutes of vocal toning. It was incredible.
Wow.
wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
What inspired you to create the specific line of products that you guys actually share now? Like, I feel like there's so many, you guys have such a broad understanding of TCM and energy work and ancient rituals and the plant medicines. Like, how did you narrow it down?
Yeah, like that, like there are so many different herbs and so many different ways to take the medicine that at first it was kind of hard for us to decide like what we should produce or what we want to produce. Like, is it teas? Is it oils? Is it smokes? Is it some sort of hybrid? But I think we always focus back on what was fun for us and like what fulfilled
Mm,
us, and like taking a line from Marie Kondo, like what sparked joy for us,
Mm,
you know,
mm-hmm.
because at the time that we were creating it, we knew that we wanted to do something fun because we like for so long we worked in different capacities that weren't very fun, and so we were thinking if we're going to start our own business, it should be something that we want to do, or else what's the point? Um, and so I think that was one of the things that led us and guided us.
Yeah, and also making it accessible and easy. Because I know from my experience doing TCM, is it's really labor intensive sometimes to brew the herbs, and you have to pour it out and brew it again, and
mm,
you're like at the stove watching it simmer, and it's just so much work that it's almost not accessible for the busy modern day person. I know they have powder things now, but my TCM doctor was always doing the whole herbs because for him, he believed that having the smell in the house was also part of the medicine.
Oh,
yeah.
Um,
wow. I believe it. Yeah.
so we wanted to make teas that were easy and steepable, which also limits our ingredients because it has to be things that don't have to be on the stove for hours and hours. But it's also with the idea of like preventative wellness that if we make it easy enough for you to do this all the time, then you won't have to get to the point where you have to do the hour-long steeping and brewing.
Yeah, it's
That's
like,
so
yeah,
smart.
the
Yeah.
preventative
Yeah,
angle. I love that.
Yeah. And just conducive for modern life, too.
right.
Um, you guys recently posted about your CBD products, which I kind of want to get into because I just thought that this story was just so powerful, and it really goes to show how dedicated you are to this work. But you were talking about the fact that you gave away the CBD products in the beginning, or you were essentially giving them to your clients because they couldn't afford them necessarily. Can you talk a little bit about how you began to work with CBD and what that whole story is? Because I think it also,
Mm,
I would love to hear a little bit about your 111 mission, which I found so
yes.
beautiful and fascinating.
Yeah, so in the 3 years that I was working for this hospital group and doing the work comp treatments and doing their wellness clinic, I would see a lot of people for orthopedic issues. So it seems more physical therapy, really, where I'm very hands on, working with the muscles, working with the joints. And a lot of the lotions out there have a lot of things in the ingredients that I can't recognize. And for me, that was important because part of the intake, you have to ask someone if they have any allergies because you don't want to make things worse, right? And we would look at the ingredients, like, I don't know if I'm allergic to this. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what it is either. So that kind of propelled us forward to making lotions and oils for my clinic, and Kevin was a big 100% making everything because I'm too lazy to make stuff. I hate anything that has a process.
Yeah, and I grew up like in a very handy house. Like my dad was always fixing stuff, and I love fixing stuff, and so all these things that like have processes and steps, like they were very invigorating for my mind. So it turned out to be a pretty good pairing for the both of us.
So
Yeah,
awesome.
and then there are like CBD's oil out there for massaging, but it's so expensive that it didn't make sense for me to like buy these tiny things to get like a few uses out of it per patient. So we just started making bigger batches on our own for my clinic, and then patients were telling me how good they felt afterwards, and it helped so much with inflammation, more than the old lotions that I was using, like the typical clinic stuff. So I was like, oh, then they should take this home. And especially around the pandemic, as everything was starting to shut down and people didn't know if they wanted to come in as much, which I totally understood because I was in a hospital. I was like, well, if you can't come to me, then you should at least take tools home with you. And the dispensaries were open, if you guys remember. But when I was sending these people out, they're like, yeah, I went, but it's like $60 for like a tiny bottle. I can't afford it right now, especially if my hours got cut because of the pandemic, or some people who are not nurses and doctors, they just like work in the kitchen and they don't have that kind of money. They're working 2 or 3 jobs just to keep afloat. And us making it at home, like we know the cost of things. And I'm like, well, I'll just give it to you then, because I'm an occupational therapist and we take the Hippocratic oath that we have to make our patients better. Like whatever we do, it's about them improving their health and wellness. So yeah, I mean, I was being paid a really generous salary. I'm like, I can definitely afford this. If you can't, I can. So like here, like get better, stay safe, be healthy. And that really helped, I think. And more people started coming to the wellness clinic, especially as things were hitting the fan in the hospital, because like they heard from their coworker that this girl was giving out CBD. And I was like, and it turns out I'm also giving out Reiki, so sign up. And my clinic turned from a workers' comp clinic into this like little Reiki CBD oil herbalist thing for about a year and a half. It was fun.
So cool.
That really is so cool. And you guys have sort of made this pledge that, you state really beautifully on your website. Can you tell us a little bit about your 111 mission?
So our 111 mission transformed. When we first started, we were super generous. Like, we're going to do 10% all the time. And it turns out that's not like the best business model for someone who started. So we turned into a 111 model, because if we don't have money, at least we have time and products that we can give. So 1% of our profit will donate, and then 1% of our time we go out and volunteer, whether that's with a nonprofit or on our own. Like sometimes we go kayaking and we just bring our pillowcase and we put trash in there because there's a lot of trash in the bay. Or hiking, we're just always picking up trash. So it's really incorporated into our time. I don't even know if it's 1% or just it's always there. And then 1% of our products, which we don't really know how to calculate, but if someone asks for product and they can't afford it, we just say yes. Or if our friends from Kevin's old nonprofit passed, they're asking for a donation, we just say yes, because that's just the vibe.
Yeah, I think
that's
like
amazing.
We get a lot of joy in giving out herbs. For me, it's because I'm starting to see that a lot of people, like my friends and peers and family, they really don't use like plants as medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Like they might buy vitamins, or stuff like that, but they don't really like ever hold like a dried piece of plant or a dried
Mm-hmm.
flower, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
see like it really like opens up something for them. And then to also know that, there is value and medicinal and healing value in this thing that we're giving them. I start to see that it kind of shifts their lens and opens them up to thinking differently about plants and like nature and Mother Earth, which just makes me happy.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
remember when I took that herbal medicine course, that's exactly what happened for me. Like I started to learn about TCM, I started to learn about, the different herbs that just are all around in California. I remember even having a conversation with my mom afterwards and being like, we look at all these plants like they're weeds, but they're so
Mm-hmm.
healing. I was not a huge tea drinker before that. And now I drink tea all the time. And it's like, I specifically pick the herbs and the teas that I'm drinking based on their healing constituents and what I feel like my body needs versus, just like going to the store and buying some like shitty Earl Grey or something, which is
Right,
what I feel
right.
like gives tea such a bad name.
Yeah. 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 What you said about the weeds is such a good point. Like, as I keep learning, because we're always learning about herbalism and we're still enrolled in courses on our own too, the more I know and the more I can identify things, the more invested I am to sustainability and reversing climate change, because we're not just saving plants and animals, like, we're saving ourselves. Because
Yeah.
without these plants, without this medicine, like, that's a really huge danger for humans as well.
Absolutely.
Well, I feel like a lot of what we're talking about too, and it's like, yes, these plants have a lot of incredible healing benefits, but it's really about the relationship that we have with these plants, and
Hmm.
really kind of reestablishing like a true friendship, like a true relationship where it's not
Mm,
just a one-way kind of thing or extractive. It's something that we, there's respect there. There's a
Hmm.
mutual respect there. And I think
mm,
sometimes that is the key thing that's kind of missing from a lot of I don't want to just say Western teaching, but it's missing from our world right now, from our modern world, where I feel like there is a lot of extraction and a lot of just, oh, this plant can do this for me, so I'm just going to take it,
mm-hmm,
rather than thinking of it as like, oh, wow, this plant gave me its energy and
Yeah.
I need to give back to it as well. This reciprocal, symbiotic kind of exchange. And I think the same thing is happening also with this idea of like going out into nature and healing with nature and forest bathing and that kind of thing, where there's, again, I think it's really easy for us sometimes to think of it as I'm just going to go hike and feel better, and it's like a one way sort of thing, whereas like there is so much happening in the in the exchange of it. And I don't know. I love, like, I actually just want to read this passage that Kevin had made this post about six days ago, I think, or at least it was posted on your site. And the way you described this recent hike to Mount Baldy, it just totally spoke to my heart, because I feel like I get the sense of the relationship that you have with the earth and with nature. So you wrote this: I always feel so different after a walk with nature. My tension melts away, mind opens up, critical thinking replaced with being present. I used to think that being outdoors could only exist when I'm all geared up, huffing and puffing into the backcountry or speeding down a snowy track. Learning all about the plants and trees has really tuned me into a different dimension of outdoors. It really is magic. You can see a bunch of green, or you can see a variety of foods and medicine. You can see a light flare, or you can see a portal into another world. Nature
mm.
has infinite possibilities, and I guess we're here to reconnect with them all. And I just, as I read that, I felt it so deeply, and it really does get at this. It's an opening, and I think what you're seeing is an invitation from nature and from the earth to actually be in relationship with it, or with
Hmm.
Totally.
them. And yeah, I'd love to hear just your perspective, especially as two people. Like, I know you guys just recently closed your online store for the season, and I think it's with the intention to go travel. Am I right?
Right.
Yeah, I would love to hear
So
about your
cool.
travels and van life and like,
All the
because
things.
yeah, it's like I think I have a lot of like FOMO when I look at your posts about van life.
Yeah, so Kevin and I, we mentioned earlier when we first started dating, we got really into camping and backpacking. And when you're really into that lifestyle, you're really committed to this leave no trace lifestyle, which is all about like, pack it in, pack it out, like leave it better than you found it. And I think that really is the foundation of just the way I act and love nature, especially when we're out there, because it's so easy to think of recreating in the outdoors as like a commodity, especially the way national parks are too. Like you have to pay your way to get inside. It feels very theme parky. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
and I think we forget that like nature exists with or without us, and they are their own very sovereign beings. And when you're out there, you really have no choice but to respect them because they live in these really extreme conditions and they're way more epic than us at survival. And we have so much to learn from these plants too. And I think there's just every time we go out there backpacking, fully immersed in the backcountry, I just learn so much. And it's almost like channeling in terms of like that woo woo way of saying it. Because I'll be out there and I start getting these like new ideas and new thoughts and new ways of seeing my own life and seeing this world. And I'm like, I think the trees are talking to me because I'm not this smart.
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like what you said earlier about relationships really stood out to me. I think like my whole life has just been about relationships. I think like earlier in my life, it was um, relationships with people and with society, but it was kind of just that, like there wasn't that nature element, and now it's more of like both, and I see nature as a way for us humans to connect better with each other,
Mm.
because nature is so giving and so kind and so peaceful, and it literally never asks for anything in return. And so when I go out in my yard or garden or the backcountry or the mountains, I feel this like inner peace and this inner calm
Mm,
that resonates so deeply that I know like this is like God's spirit or God energy or whatever
yeah,
name you want to call it. It's just this thing that I can't even describe, that I can only feel.
yeah.
And I know that's something that I have to keep following. Like I don't know where it's going to lead me in my life, but I know that like it has to be an integral part for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So now that we've closed our shop, we're preparing for our big trek. So we're not going to be traveling in the usual sense. We're going to be backpacking the Numupoyo Trail, which is federally known as the John Muir Trail in
Oh, wow.
California.
Whoa.
So it'll be 225 miles. We're going to start at Glacier Point in Yosemite National Park,
Oh, I
and
love it
then
there.
the trail ends at Mount Whitney, which is the highest peak in the contiguous United States.
Oh, that's
How
incredible.
long does that journey typically take?
Most people on average do about 20 days, I think, because it's kind of around the time they can take off. But we're going to do 30 days so we can be a little more slower and methodical about it and actually enjoy our time versus looking at our feet
Wow.
the whole time.
So cool.
So yeah, we're gonna be out there for 30 days. We're gonna resupply on our food once at this little midway point in the mountains. But yeah, we're gonna be totally exited from society for a month.
You are
That's going to be
doing,
magical.
yeah, it's like the Pacific Coast Trail hike. Kind of like I we just I so I just moved to Idlewild this year, in
Oh,
January.
Oh,
cool.
cool.
And had no idea, that people came up here to actually train for these hikes. And I had no
Yeah.
idea that the Pacific Coast Trail people, like the hikers, oftentimes will stop off in Idlewild and take a, kind of get their supplies. And there's like a period in April where
Mm-hmm.
everybody convenes here, and you see so many hikers. And the thing that struck me, because I live basically, I think, off of a road that the essentially the mountain, the trail kind of exits on. So that's why I always see hikers coming down my street. And I cannot tell you the just the energy and the sheer joy that each of them have, having just, it's like they're just walking on the street with the biggest smiles on their faces. Not one of them have been in shitty moods. Like they're all just like
Yeah.
very happy and just, like you just feel their vitality. I don't know how else to explain it except that you just feel their joy and their grace, and just having been with nature for, what, probably 2 weeks or something like that before they were able to see another human being. Like, and to
Totally.
come down and get to supply. I mean, and they're clearly not lacking that human connection because they are in communion and in relationship with nature the whole time, and it's just so beautiful to witness.
Yeah. So in the outdoors world, things like the Pacific Crest Trail or John Muir Trail, these are examples of through hiking, which is when you like go end to end without stopping or leaving the trail. And I think that's really like our modern way of accessing a pilgrimage.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel whenever we're out for those long hikes, is that I'm just in full communion with Mother Nature, and there's nothing but me and the supplies I need on my back, and it's just that simple.
So awesome.
Are you bringing your dogs with you?
No, unfortunately, because we're entering at a national park, so they're not
Oh, okay.
allowed. But if we
Gotcha.
could, we
Yeah, they'll
would.
be with my mom and dad. They've graciously agreed.
Getting spoiled by the grandparents.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Have you guys done anything like this before?
Not this long.
No, yeah, I think our longest backpacking trip has been like 3 or 4 nights. So this will be, like 7 times that.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm
But we
so
we tend to
excited.
jump in big, like with 2 feet first. We like our first backpacking trip was Mount Whitney, um, and we just like figure. Well, I figure like life is short, if you're able to do things, go big and experience it all. And I personally hope to inspire other people to live differently, or at least
Mm,
to think differently.
mm,
Um, you know, having been such a corporate junkie for many years, like I don't think that's a very healthy way to live, and not necessarily how humans were designed or meant to live. I think more time outdoors and more time in nature is just very important for our well-being.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, and it's so obvious too in the amount of stress and anxiety and depression that we have right now. It's like it's sort of shocking to me that so many people can be suffering in such a heavy way, and
Mm,
that more people haven't sort of woken up to the causes of that.
mm,
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, we were just talking this morning actually about how living in the city, I still get caught up in I hate to use this word, but I'm going to use it, the matrix of things.
yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything from like health insurance to car insurance and all these costs that build up that have been created by these industries. And we just keep paying into it. So we have to work a certain amount of ways and hours in order to afford that. But I think the foundation of a lot of these like insurance companies and the way we pay for things and invest in things the way we do is, I think it's like a fear of death,
Yeah.
which
I
is a
think you're
really big
right.
jump. But yeah, I think that's what it is.
I totally agree. A bazillion percent. I think this fear of death is something that still controls us, still controls our society. And I mean, you kind of, you really do see it with, COVID and
Mm-hmm.
just the kind of desperation that you're feeling, and the fear that has come through. But yeah, I completely agree with you. But I also think that this is why the work that you guys are doing is so, I mean, I can't even, there's not even another word I can think of besides important, but like, it's like important with that word bolded and underlined like, 1,000 times. I think it's so important to like reestablish this relationship. And I mean, you guys are doing it in such a beautiful way, not just through the products that you guys create, but I mean, every time you're giving away a little bottle of that CBD lotion or oil or whatever, you're giving that love, and you're giving that invitation to be back in relationship with this incredible earth and nature. And and the way you guys are living too, choosing to spend the next 30 days, just with nature, just with earth. Like, I just find it so incredibly inspiring. And so, yeah, just like, again, thank you so much for what you guys are doing. We always love to end with this one question. What is that piece of wisdom that you guys each live by, that you can't even imagine life without this cornerstone or this piece of wisdom?
I'm gonna have to think about that.
I think for me, it's that life is great. Life is short. Don't waste time, and don't be afraid. Um, yeah, I used to have a lot of fear growing up, just around like things that I think are kind of silly today, like my self image or like public speaking,
Mm-hmm.
But something that I always think about still is that fear lasts a moment, but regret lasts forever.
Oh,
And
wow.
when I think of that, that always propels me into action and in my flow.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. um, I think recently I really been on this topic of knowing that humans are made of stardust.
Hmm.
And I feel like that makes me feel so infinite and timeless. And that other than having done psychedelics, and doing the breakthrough, it also makes me less afraid of dying, because I know now scientifically that I'm never going to be gone. If anything, I'll just be more integrated into the earth, which is more beautiful than I can imagine.
Oh man, I love this so
Wow.
much. And I feel like we need to have a whole separate
I
conversation with
know.
y'all around psychedelics too.
Totally.
Yeah.
That could be its own hour, or 3 or 5 or
Yeah, I was
10.
like, we're way longer.
Yeah. Um, Thank you guys so much. Like, this was just, it's such a
So
timely
beautiful.
conversation. Yeah. And I think it's one that we all need to, I don't know. I've been very much, I think today, just feeling the love of, from Earth and for Earth, and no doubt and no coincidence that's because we're in conversation and in this circle with the two of you, who I think are just such incredible stewards of the earth and the land, and of all of these beautiful plant spirit allies that we have around us. So thank you. Thank you for doing all this incredible work for us, and helping us to reestablish that connection back to nature and earth. And last question, where can people find you, and where can people buy your products and learn more about what you guys do?
Yeah, you can find us online at apotherie.com, on Instagram at myapotherie. That's where we are the most active.
Awesome. Are you guys going to take a break these 30 days as you guys are hiking?
We're going to start our hike on September 11th. That's when our permit is dated for. So from now until then, I'm just dehydrating all of our food and getting our garden ready. We have a lot of yard work to do and drip systems to put in to make sure that all of our herbs and things stay alive while we're gone.
Awesome.
Wow. And then when are you reopening your store?
We think October 20th, but we might push it back depending on how we feel when we come back.
Yeah,
but definitely
I
in
love that.
time for the holidays.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Music for Wu Nu is composed by Adam Miller.